I am personally tired of watching Taraji play these broken down, traumatized Black women. Okay. Now, if you are new here, I am Denise Brady. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. And I just sat through this whole movie, y'all. Okay. This whole movie. And we're just like, is the money that good? Tyler must be paying y'all, from what I've heard, the biggest checks y'all have received because why can't we see Taraji play a successful Black woman thriving? Have all her roles been the same? Let me know in the comments if we've ever seen her play successful, play the role of a wealthy Black woman, someone who is thriving. But here we are again. Okay? And the theme of this movie is I just got to get through this. As a Black woman watching this, how many of us have said that? When things slow down, when I just make this last little check, when I get this promotion, when this last little weight get off of me, once I drop this baby weight, okay, once he finished school, it's gonna get better. And I wonder, after years of us telling us ourselves that, does it really slow down? Does it get better, or do we replace what we were trying to work through with something else? Okay. Now, this movie, the last straw is what, because really, the last straw. All right. Throughout this movie, we are shown how Black women are not seen, not heard. Our struggle is viewed by the world on phones, TV screens. People become voyeurs of our experience. But are we really helped? Hmm? Hmm? Are we really helped? Because it feels like you see my pain, but are you willing to see past it and see me, what's going on inside of me? Or is it just that, girl, you doing a good job. You doing a good job. Okay. But so many women are Taraji, okay, in this film. Now let's get into it. But before I really get started, make sure y'all hit that like, y'all subscribe. Join the membership is only $1. Join the crew. All right. Now, where do we start? Now we start off by seeing her with her daughter trying to just get through the life, the lifestyle, trying to be a single parent, trying to have her daughter become independent because our children want to become independent, depending on how y'all raising them. Okay. But at the cost of what? At the cost of what? Her trying to raise a child who has special needs on her own. And that is so many people have y'all in marriages with special needs kids and raise them on your own because y'all in marriages when the husband ain't really doing nothing. Okay? So we see Taraji just trying to live. And there's so much noise around her. And I want y'all to pay attention to the noise because we all have noise around us, paying bills, job security, all these different things that really consume us. Maybe cause depression, maybe get to a point where you just walking and you disassociating. Okay, you think you making it. I just gotta make it through today, but really the disassociation, your body is there, but your mind ain't, has taken over. And through it all, she kept trying to go, but this job, okay? Because of capitalism, we need money, we gotta survive, but this job and this boss, okay? And I know it's in all these films. This is not a surprise. This is not a shock. Y'all should not be surprised. It's always a Black man talking down to a Black woman. Did y'all notice that? Okay, and everyone, here we are again at the very start. A shitty boss. You can see Something is wearing her down. But I'm going to give you 30 minutes to get back up in here. Okay. Only for her to come back from the school and they get robbed. And what does a Black woman do? Protect, save a Black man. Only for what? Him to say in this robbery scene, she set up the robbery. How I save your life, but I'm the problem. Okay? But that's how society treats us, is that Black women are always the problem. And so in the moment of just like panic, maybe she went into flight, freeze, fawn, run. Okay. She like, oh, I'm gonna shoot your ass too. Shut up. Shut up permanently. Shut up. All I really wanted was my check. I have so much stress, so many things over me, not having my child, having a special needs child. Why couldn't you just give me my check? But it shows you the cost of we as women, how stress metaphorically hinders us. It has us at an emotional breaking point. The load of chronic stress over time until it pushes us over the edge. And I think in this film you saw how she eventually was pushed over the edge. Okay? Even once again, we're seeing another film with Tyler Perry about the intergenerational trauma in these characters. Everyone is going through a life of poverty. We see everybody in this apartment complex. Shout out to Sinbad. I haven't seen him in a lot of things in quite some time. But, we saw Sinbad, okay, and how all this stress, the generational trauma manifests in our bodies, and it becomes suppressed pain, especially in Black families and relationships. And what happens to that stress and pain? You know what? It manifests as chronic illnesses, lupus, alopecia, okay? All the different things that we are trying to overcome, but our bodies just filtered inside and have all these different health issues. You're wondering why your hair falling out. You're wondering why you're in so much pain. The lymphedema, okay? That's because our bodies are holding on to so much trauma. And I think Taraji is an example of someone who, as a caretaker, was burned out. Where was her help? Where was her respite care? Okay. There's so much pressure placed on females as nurturers, fixers, and emotional anchors. Along with that, compassion fatigue among Black women who feel obligated to be the strong ones for everybody else. So as Taraji is walking through this movie in a disassociative state, depressed, chronically fatigued, do people really see her? Do you feel seen? Do people really know what you're really going through? The facade, the mask that you're wearing to make sure nobody really knows what's going on with me, because I can't put my problems on nobody else. My sister going through a divorce, can't call her. My mama gonna make it all about herself, can't call her. Okay. My friends got their own issues. So what do I look like calling them and putting my stuff on them? How many of y'all have had that conversations with yourselves? All right. Now, all she wanted to do was cash that check and get that $40 to her child. Now, let's talk about some of these people, some of these other characters, because we're going to have to talk about some of them. All right. Now, let's talk about Miss Sherry Shepherd. Okay, Miss Sherry Shepherd. Now, Sherry to me was a Black woman who one might say was trying to do the right thing. Okay. But to me, if she had just saw past Taraji's, oh, she got a bomb. She trying to rob the bank. Okay. Black woman to Black woman. Hey, you need some help? You look stressed. Come into my office. Let's figure this out together. But collectively, all the Black women in the bank decided she trying to rob us. She got a bomb. Instantly panicked instead of seeing past the noise. Once again, focusing on the noise. And what would it look like if people stopped focusing on the noise of things and saw the person? What would really happen if people had more compassion, more understanding, and saw this is a human being going through some shit? Human to human. That's what we are losing in this world is human to human connection. If y'all had just let her cash that goddamn check, this movie would not have been so long. Okay, because the movie was very much given, was it John Wick? No, not John Wick. Yeah. What was that Denzel movie where he was in the hospital and his son was sick? Somebody let me know in the comments. But all she really wanted was to cash that check. But the Black woman, what? They judged her. Let's hit that button. And then Sherry calls the police. Don't you know me? I'm coming in here every day. You should know that I probably have a sick child, that something's going on with me. But instead, no. You call the police. See, now if you had not called the police, none of this would have happened. But assumptions were made, judgments were made to see that this woman was not, no one just saw that she's hurting. Maybe she's depressed. What do you need today? How can I help you? With all the noise of the world, everyone's caught up in their own shit that we don't see one another. And this movie shows we don't see one another. We really don't. The world is losing the ability to see past the noise. It really is. And it's interesting that I want to also talk about the scene where everybody is watching the bank robbery live on their phones. Okay, can we talk about that? Because that's what we're living in. People crying online, going through the worst times of their lives, hurting, on live, and the world is watching. But does anyone put down their phone to, hey, are you okay? What's going on? But then when they do, it's to call CPS and the police knocking at your door. Okay? So there's that side of it too. Like the people be knocking, not to help you, but to take and add to the stress on your back. So now I'm afraid to ask for help because then people might be coming towards me to take my kids. So then there's a fear of that. If I speak up, will they take my kids? I have a history of depression, anxiety, maybe some suicidal thoughts, not being here. But I'm afraid to be honest because then people gonna come. I've seen over and over again on TV. My mama didn't told me. My grandparents told me, don't tell nobody what you're really going through because they're gonna take them kids. Which isn't very true. Well, I don't want to say it's not true. I think it's very nuanced and there should be more conversation and dialogue about being honest about what you're going through without the fear of the people coming to your house to take your kids, to lock you up, the repercussions of being honest. There's a lot of nuanced conversations around mental health and being honest and about having thoughts about not being here, depression, anxiety. But people are still afraid. Now, also getting into Tiana. Now, the interesting part was Tiana was the only one to me that kind of saw her in some parts, but it was more about trauma bonding. And at times it felt like she was having kind of like a therapy session with Taraji over the phone. So that was kind of strange to me. Did we need Tiana in this movie? Do we really need her? The one thing about Tiana though, she know how to collect a check and she's very diverse. She's been in a couple movies lately doing different things. Okay. But I feel like mental health in the Black community, the film reflects how mental health is ignored, mocked, and misunderstood. To me, once we got to this pivotal part in the bank towards the end, yeah, lots of spoilers. Sorry, y'all, spoilers. Come to find out, I'm like, okay, how much longer? Because I gotta get on my Zoom. I gotta get on my Zoom. That daughter was dead. You mean to tell me this whole time she's been in a catonic state? She's been disassociating? The daughter was never there, and this was a woman who's just severely depressed and holding on to the one thing she had left, which was her daughter. And once she lost her daughter, she really had nothing to live for. The one thing that I can hold on to. We need more advocacy, safe spaces, and culturally competent care. Okay? Culturally competent. You should not be in your therapy sessions explain to your therapist about your Black experience. Educate your therapist about your trauma. Okay? Because there are a lot of therapists out there who say they're trauma informed, but what about the care? Because you can know about trauma, but what are the action steps, Buki, that you do in your therapy sessions with your clients? What's really going on there? There's a gap in between. I'm seeing too many clients who have been through therapists, been in therapy for years about trauma, and they're not getting anywhere. So we got to reflect on that. But in this movie, we see also themes of healing versus merely surviving. And a lot of us have been in states where we have only been taught to survive, conditioned, that people don't really know the difference between thriving and surviving. And I ask my clients, if you can get to a point where you were thriving, what would that look like? And you know what they say to me? I've never thought about that. I can't even create a space in my mind of that because it never occurred to me that I could thrive. I've only been taught to survive. I've watched other Black women in my family, aunts, grandmas, cousins, survive and not thrive. So I want to see more Black women in these movies thriving. Okay? But I don't know if Tyler Perry's writing style, the way he puts shows together, could it work if we had a female lead who was thriving? Because now we're about to have divorce sisters. We could have, not calling it this, but successful sisters. Something showing them thriving. Okay? I'm tired of seeing so many characters appear strong. But are they emotionally well? And that is the thing we are constantly being shown, that we as Black women can survive. Yeah, we can show you how to survive. But are we emotionally well? Have we been taught to be emotionally well? What does that even mean? What does it look like? I want you guys to ask yourself, what does it mean to be emotionally well? Because you can show the world you're surviving. You can fake it. But in your mind, have you even started to contemplate, create a space up here of what your life would look like if you were thriving? So that out here, say it, speak it out into the world so that you can take the action steps to thrive. Okay. But I feel like there's just so much of the same thing. And now recently we got Forever, which actually was not a trauma narrative, it was a successful Black show. And it shows you we can have storytelling, we can have narratives, we are multifaceted. We don't have to just be surviving. We don't have to be walking around in a disassociative state where our minds are somewhere else, but physically we are present. And though a lot of us do disassociate, because we all do at some point, we're driving and we're driving and we're not dozing off, we're, somewhere else. So we all do it a little bit, but it's at a point sometimes where you dissociating has become your comfort zone, a way you cope, a way you escape. That physically I'm here, but mentally I've learned to cope through different traumatic things by not being here mentally. Okay. And Taraji showed us over and over again how much we're holding. And will we ever be able to put it down? Will we ever be able to put it down? Because the world tells us we got to keep surviving. You ain't got time to cry, girl. You got bills to pay, kids to take to school, dinner to make. But I'm here to tell y'all, stop. Okay? Stop. You're hurting yourselves. Your body's taking that on. It's feeling that. Your kids are picking up on that. Okay? Now, the acting in this movie was interesting as usual. Sherry did a pretty good job, Taraji, Tiana, but some of these other people, when they were calling the police, once again, the one line, the one sentence, hello? A crime? Hello? That same little, like, you know what I'm talking about. No real conversation or dialogue, just very much like, hello? Yeah. Police? A crime? Where? What nurse? But it was a true depiction on how stress manifests trauma and how we all reach a breaking point. And what happens when you get to yours? What has it looked like when you've gone to your own breaking point? Don't be afraid to speak up and ask for help. You don't want to end up like this. When are you going to take off your mask? When are you going to be honest with yourself about what you're really feeling, what you're really going through, and take the time to start working on it? Okay? But the movie, conceptually wasn't that bad. I just get tired of the trauma narratives. I thought it was way too long. It didn't need to be that long. I'm tired of watching Taraji be a broken down Black woman. Can she get married? Can we see her have some kids? Start a business? Okay, not chasing after no man, not getting cheated on. But the bag must be nice. Everybody says the bag is nice over there at Tyler Perry Studios. Okay? But let me know your thoughts. What did you guys think of this movie? What did you get from this video? You ready to get honest with yourself? Okay, you ready to be honest about what you're going through? Please, we need you here. We do. All right. I'm Denise Brady, sign off for duty, and I will check you guys in the next video. Bye.